Hello everyone, Jai Hind and welcome back to National Security Live Lecture 4. In the first part of this lecture, we explored how the Naxalbari Uprising in 1967 it transformed into a nationwide insurgency. We also saw how the formation of Communist Party of India, that is CPI Maoist in 2004, it marked a new phase in India's internal security landscape. Now let us understand why this moment actually it spread, or who led it, how the Indian state actually gradually turned the tide. So before beginning, I would like to request my viewers kindly switch into 1.5x for your better experience. So let's come to the question of why did left-wing extremism spread? Why it spread to such an extent? This is one of the actually most important questions in internal security. Why did left-wing extremism spread so vast? Many people actually think the movement spread only because of its ideology. That is actually an incomplete explanation. It expanded because of its ideology. I don't think so. I think it's an incomplete explanation for its so vast spread. The moment for me it expanded because the ideology actually found its space in such regions which actually faced various deficits in terms of development, in terms of law and order, also that of governance and even education. So many of the affected districts, which actually once there were around 200 districts affected. This is a huge number, 200 districts of India, once which were affected by Naxalites. So many of these affected districts shared various similar characteristics, like the terrain was with dense forest, and it was very difficult terrain. The geography was very difficult. There was tribal population, that tribal ethnicity was present there. The road and communication network was very weak, very limited access to school, very limited access to healthcare systems, and also delayed implementation of various welfare schemes. There were even poor administrative and law and order presence. There are even though there are rich deposits of various minerals like maybe iron ore or coal, even bauxites, and the extraction of such minerals was done through various means that local population actually didn't like it. So these conditions created an environment where the reach of the state was often weakened than it deserves. From the conditions where, as we discussed, from the difficult terrain or deforested areas to tribe populations, to lack of road and communication networks, or even lack of good road actually, limited access to education and healthcare, poor presence of law and order and administration, delayed development, and these are the actually main concerns or main conditions which created an environment where state's presence became actually weak than it is desired. So from the point of view of national security, these actually demonstrate, these conditions demonstrate security and governance are closely linked. Even if you want to strengthen security, but if the governance and law and order is weak, you wouldn't be able to make an area secured, make the life secured in that area if the governance is weak, if the law and order weak. and vice versa. Coming, as we have learned about Red Corridor, coming again to the Red Corridor, if we go to the year, by the end of 2000s, left-wing extremism actually it spread across in the broad belt, often as we termed it as a Red Corridor. The affected districts were in Chhattisgarh, in Jharkhand, Odisha, Bihar, Maharashtra, even in Andhra Pradesh, also Telangana. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana was the same at that time. Even West Bengal, especially in Lalgarh district in first phase. So at its peak, as we have said, that more than 200 districts, at least 200 districts, which were considered affected by various degrees of Naxalism. It's a huge number actually. But over time, the number of most severely affected districts has declined significantly as security forces tightened their measures and law and order actually improved. So if we go to the inside of this moment, if we talk about the leadership, we have already learned about or known various leadership of this moment from the beginning of 1967. Let's go visit that again. There are among various other leaders also who at different phase of movement, but Charu Mazumdar, we have already learned about him. He often regarded as the principal ideologue of the early Naxalite movement, Charu Mazumdar, which was he was dead in police custody in 1972. And there was another, that is Kanu Sanyal. He is also a founding leader associated with this Naxalbari Uprising of 1967. There is Jangal Santhal. He was also a grassroots leader who played a major role during the initial moment or phase 1 of Naxalism. Next, in phase 2, there was, as we have learned, Kondapalli Sitharamaiah, who founded People's War Group in 1980s. And there was other leaders like Mupalla Laxman Rao, or he was also known as Ganapati, who served for many years as General Secretary of CPI or Communist Party of India Maoist group. Also, he was associated with organizational expansion and various structural activities of that organization. Another was Basavarao. Basavarao, his name was actually Nambala Kesavarao, but he was known as Basavaraju. He was known as, and his name is actually Nambala Kesavarao. So who later became General Secretary of the organization, and actually he remained one of the senior leaders of CPI Maoist. There was another called Koteshwar Rao, or he was also called Kishanji very famously. He was a prominent leader active in various parts of West Bengal and neighboring regions. He was killed in 2011. So each phase of the moment, it actually reflected various changes in leadership from as we have learned, Charu Mazumdar to Kanu Sanyal, then Jangal Santhal, then Sitharamaiah, Laxman Rao or Ganpati, then Kesava Rao, or lastly Koteshwar Rao also. So each phase has gone through various leaderships. So major incidents as we have learned about leaderships in various stages. Now let's move ahead with various major incidents which shaped the response from counter-Naxalist or anti left-wing extremism or anti-Naxalite operations, as we term them as anti-Naxalite operations. So several attacks actually it highlighted seriousness and challenges of Naxalism into India's internal security. Some of the incidents, as we can say, like in 2008, the Nayagar Odisha attack. It was a major attack on police establishment and armories. The Nayagar Odisha attack was in 2008. In 2010, the Chhattisgarh Dantewara attack. It was also one of the deadliest attack on CRPF or Central Reserve Police Force personnel. In 2010, in Chhattisgarh again, the Tadmelta attack, where very many security persons were killed by the abuse by the Naxalite groups. Ziram Khanti attack again in Chhattisgarh in 2013, where senior political leaders and security personnel were actually killed in attack on a political convoy, the Ziram Khanti attack. And in 2017, the Sukma attack in Chhattisgarh. It was also a deadly attack on CRPF personnel. It was actually a deadly abuse on targeting CRPF personnel. So these incidents from Nayagars to Dantewara to Ziram Ghati and Sukma, these incidents actually led to the review of tactics, review of training and intelligence coordination among the anti-Naxalite forces, from police to intelligence agency to central armed police forces. They just reviewed their tactics, training and various operational strategies in the line of these attacks. So these are the major attacks which actually shaped India's response to Naxalism, and these attacks actually made Naxalism one of the most deadliest insurgent event in the or insurgent movement in the history of India. So as we are focusing on the movement, as we have gone with the questions, we have raised the question at the beginning, how the movement sustained itself. Let's go into deep into that. So no armed insurgency, actually no movement can continue for decades without financial support. It is must that no movement, particularly armed struggle or armed insurgency, it cannot continue. It's not possible to continue without a solid financial support. According to various official assessments by the agencies over the years, major sources of the funding of Naxalism, it was extortion or levy tax from contractors in the affected areas. There were illegal taxation imposed by insurgents in such areas. They had a parallel tax system. There were extortion linked to mining, extortion in road construction, even in various infrastructure projects. Even collection from forest-related economic activities in some regions also. And moreover, it is also said that there were also some foreign funding, particularly from some neighboring countries of India. We have very much cooperative neighbors actually. So some of the neighboring countries of India who wanted India to be unstable, to remain unstable, and that particular country having that ideology, and that particular country also supported financially from arms, from manpower, and even in training and operational capabilities also towards that moment for decades actually. So successive government placed various emphasis, all the governments, there's not a single government, all the governments union governments and multiple governments in affected states, they had increasing emphasis on disrupting such financial networks along with security operations. Okay, they halted various illegal taxations. Even there were like strict monitoring on the extortion, even collection from forest related economic activities. There were very strict monitoring from law and order point of view in various states, and just for that the financial or the funding also decreased. And that's how the funding of this movement, they are from local taxes, they are from parallel tax, extortion, collection, etc., as well as a bulk part from foreign governments or foreign supporters of ideologies, and from our beautiful neighboring countries. So as we have learned a bit about the funding of this Naxalite movement, let's move ahead with another term. What is urban Naxal? We have been hearing this term on news, even in books, even in various talks. There is urban Naxal. What does it mean? This term often appears in public debate, so it is we need to explain it very carefully. The expression of urban Naxal, it's not a legal term, okay? It's not a official or legal term defined under Indian law or any law in any country. This is actually a term out of some debate, or maybe out of some books and even some movies or other popular cultures. It's also used by various politicians, various commentators, and sections of media to describe certain individuals who are alleged to provide ideological, logistical, or other forms of support to Maoist organization from urban areas, who live in various areas, like various metro cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bangalore, or anywhere in very much good place they do live, but they give ideological support, logistical support, and support by any and every means, including financial support to CPI, or Communist Party of India, Maoist. So critics also argue that the level has sometimes it's gone too broad. Okay, so there's always critique to everything. This term urban Naxal is actually controversial, and sometimes it is said that urban Naxal term is actually applied too broadly. It shouldn't be applied so broadly. So as a student of national security, we should actually distinguish between the proven offenses established through investigation and through courts, and an allegation that remain unproven, or maybe political rhetoric. So this urban Naxal idea actually comes from political rhetoric. Yes, we can see that there are various ideological conflicts from which we can say various black and white scenarios, and we can actually see how certain people are sympathetic towards this Naxalite movement, even towards their armed struggle, towards their rebellion to overthrow the Indian government. People are very much supportive of them, so we can see them black and white even today, even in various protests, including in recent protests, including some certain universities in Delhi, also in West Bengal, and even in UP, and other various universities, particularly in Delhi, West Bengal, and in UP too, and certain other universities. So these are actually rhetoric. This term is, we can say, as rhetoric, and it is allegation, even though some of them are proven lately by various investigation agencies through their link of foreign funding. And just for such links, such just for such NGO fundings or foreign fundings, India is bringing another FCRA law, that is Amendment to Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act, or FCRA, this session, and just for this kind of funding, and what sometimes they say as urban Naxals, who not only ideologically and logistically supports this movement but also financially support them. So as students of national security, we must actually distinction between the proven offenses, proven through investigation, and proven through courts, which are actual Naxalites, and what are allegations with the terminology as urban Naxals, and what is even political rhetoric. And also we have to look into how even some such urban Naxal, or some of them who were termed like this, became actually proven as Naxal sympathizers or Naxal helpers by various monetary trails through investigation by agencies in recent times. So while dealing with this urban Naxal terminology, we need to be careful as students of national security. That's all. Now let's go to the reverse trend. How Indian agencies begin to reverse the trend. Actually, by the late 2000s, on around 2010, and the following decade, since 2011, India's response actually it become increasingly integrated. The focus actually shifted from isolated operations of various states. Every state was operating with their various own operations, but from actually 2000, from 2001, no, not from 2001. Actually, we can say that from 2004, after the CPI Maoist formed, Indian government or Union government actually come through a multi-dimensional strategy incorporating all states. So the pillars of this multi-dimensional strategy are like intelligence-led operations, where there was improvement in coordination between central and state agencies. Better human intelligence were given importance, and strong technical supports like drones and satellite imagery, these are also provided. There were police modernizations, like with better equipments, communications, better mobility training, and specialized units such as Cobra Battalion of CRPF, which is very famous in counterinsurgency operation, particularly in anti-Naxalite operations. The Cobra Battalion were very much of importance. So this is what police modernization is. There were focus were given into center-state coordination, like regular coordination between Ministry of Home Affairs and police of the state governments, also state armed police forces, and also that of district administrations. So there were various developmental activities also tuned on along with the security measures, like roads, bridges, even mobile towers, and banking facilities were provided. Schools and healthcare systems were built, and various welfare schemes were expanded into rural areas, and the governance gaps or law and order gaps were actually reduced. Next, there come the surrender and rehabilitation. There were various policies by state government and also union government which encouraged eligible cadres to surrender and reintegrate into society through various rehab measures. There were certain kind of amnesty provided to them, and certain rehab mechanisms like training and even financial assistance also given to them. So these are the mechanisms which become the backbone of multi-dimensional strategy of anti-Naxal operations, like intelligence-led operations, police modernization, central state coordination, development activities, and surrender and rehab of Naxalites. So now coming to the present time, that is the policy approach during the present Home Minister, that is Sri Amit Shah's tenure. When Amit Shah actually he become Union Home Minister in 2019, the government actually the government actually placed a renewed emphasis on achieving various measurable reductions in left-wing extremism. Several of this approach, they were like there were various frequent review meetings with chief ministers of the affected states, the senior affected as the senior officials of that particular state, and actually that particular red corridor districts. Also, there were close coordination between central and state agencies. There were actually expansion of security camps into previously inaccessible areas which were very remote, which were actually inaccessible in previous time. The security camps were expanded into such areas with the help of technology like drone and night vision cameras and even satellite imagery, etc. Development activities like road construction became faster, and communication infrastructure like mobile towers and telephone posts, they were also put into place. And use of technology for surveillance and operational planning was given much importance, and police modernization was given and police modernization along with focus on delivering development alongside the security was given much priority. So these all the features that came into effect from Amit Shah's tenure since 2019. So official government statements during this period, it highlighted substantial decline in various violent incidents, decline in fatalities, and number of most affected districts. In comparison to earlier years, the number of most affected districts were gradually came down. These outcome actually reflected sustained effort by security forces, by intel agencies, even by civil administrations and local communities for years. So this is how the tenure of Amit Shah, how he ended not actually he ended, the whole establishment ended it, and he announced it that it will be ended by 31st of March in 2026. This is a bold move actually by a sitting home minister who said even before the date that by this particular date, by 31st of March, the Naxalite movement will be over from all over India. So it's a bold move, and he has actually achieved this goal. Our agencies have achieved this goal. All the states, all the affected states have achieved the goal. So this is it. So what's the lesson? What's the lesson for national security from Naxalite movements? So from this moment there was like tremendous lesson or several important lessons that Indian security agencies or Indian security forces has learned. The central forces, the central security establishment, even the state establishment also learned. Some of them can be like security operations alone cannot give the long-lasting peace. Only the counterinsurgency operations or anti-Naxal operation or anti-terrorism operation, only such operations, only security operation would not give you long-lasting peace. Development without security is difficult to sustain. Security operation must come with development. So development is a must for a sustainable peace. Next lesson is intelligence is more effective when agencies cooperate. Intelligence of particular agencies like police intelligence, like say CRPF intelligence, or agents or intelligence from other agencies, they are of less value when they are not working together. So the intelligence is more effective when all the agencies work together and when intelligence is shared in between agencies. Next lesson is that roads, schools, hospitals, and digital connectivity, these are also instrument of national security. We mustn't think that the instrument of national security are not just missile development or missile infrastructure, not just naval infrastructure, not just military infrastructure. Roads, school, hospitals, and digital connectivity also instrument of national security. We must remember that, and this Naxal movement and even the anti-Naxal, this comprehensive anti-Naxal operation, it says that all the development activities from road, school, hospital, digital connectivities, and all these all also elements or instruments of national security. And lastly, what we learned that the trust between citizens and state is one of the strongest long-term counterinsurgency tool. There must be trust between the local people and the security forces. Without trust, it becomes very impossible to implement sustainable peace or to hold on peace for longer duration. So that's all we have learned about left-wing extremism from its beginning to its decline. So the history of left-wing extremism in India is not simply the story of an armed movement. It is not just a story of armed rebellion. It's just not a story of a ideological movement. It shows how a democratic state can adopt its institutions, and such institutions can deliver various counter effects or various movements over time, like this moment has proven that how democratic institutions, how coordinations among states, and how willpower or even how political willpower can actually limit such moment to zero down. So India's response actually evolved from reactive policing to a broader strategy which actually later combined security, intelligence, government, development, and constitutional institutions, as we have learned. So this substantial decline of left-wing extremism related violence over the last few years, it reflects that long-term coordinated approach is very much of importance than any single operation or any single standalone policy. As future scholars who have been listening to this stream, who has been listening to these lectures, or future administrator or future police officers and citizens, the most enduring lesson from this lecture is that internal security is strongest when constitution actually reaches every village, when governance reaches every citizen, and development reaches every community. When the state actually delivers justice, opportunity, and security together, the space for violent extremism it become much smaller. So that's it for today. If you enjoy this video, you have if you have learned something from this video, please like, share and subscribe to our Gyanonymous channel. And thank you for joining National Security Live Lecture 4. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.